Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. I'm Kevin Coleman, and look who has made a remarkable comeback, the one and only Frank Granito. Everyone, a round of applause.
Happy to be back, feeling much better. So let's get right to it because I'm about a week removed from talking about everything we need to. I mean, days away from the tour, about a month away from the start of the fall season. So we got some catching up to do. Let's hit the ground rolling here.
We do, and best way to do is we're going to welcome in the one and only Dave Stewart of New Canaan Advertiser. Dave, thanks for coming on. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with us.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It's been a while, you know.
It has. It's been an enjoyable summer, but now we're starting to get ready to get back into things. But I want to start things off by asking you about this Heads Up clinic that's going on tomorrow. I know you spoke with Coach Lou Marinelli. Talk about what you and him got to sit down and talk about.
Yeah, well, obviously one of the biggest topics involving football at every level right now is the effects of of injuries, concussions, and CTE specifically. And what they've done is what the FCAC's done, and Lou was one of the driving forces with this, to Lou Marinelli, was to bring the Heads Up football clinic to New Canaan High School this Thursday night at 5 o'clock. And basically, it's open to all coaches in the FCAC. Each team is going to have at least 3 coaches there. Some may have their whole coaching staff there. And basically, it's Heads Up football. It's run by USA Football, which is the governing body for youth football in the United States. And it's funded in part by the NFL. And, it basically deals with, proper tackling techniques, recognizing symptoms of concussions and other injuries. Even dealing with things not related to concussions like dehydration, managing heat, which is an issue for teams that are going to be starting up within the next couple of weeks, and different things like that, and checking safety equipment and things like that. And it's really a way of the league being proactive and trying to make sure that all their coaches and all their teams are doing the right things by the kids and making sure that the kids aren't running into any difficulties with injuries later on down the line.
Dave, you talk about the league being proactive. One change I thought we saw last year for sure was the officials really forcing head-to-head contact, throwing a lot more flags on that. Have you heard any response from coaches around the conference as to what they thought about that? And, I mean, obviously they have to continue now after enforcing that rule for 1 year to really harp against those kind of hits.
I have not heard too much in terms of negative responses to that. I think the issue with concussion is obviously something everybody would be concerned about. Nobody wants to see their kids with any long-term injuries. So I think anything they can do to protect the kids, to help the kids with that. I'm sure in the midst of a game, if something happens and there's a flag thrown, it's frustrating for the whole team. But I think in the long run, if you look at it from a distance, maybe after the season and everything, you realize that what's being done is being done for the right reasons and with the players' best interests in mind.
And Dave, you mentioned how important it is. We in a football world right now, where we're all focused on concussions and CTE. Just how important is having a clinic like this to really teach not only the players, but really the coaches who are going out there every day during practice, teaching their players how to hit, how to tackle. Just how important is it to really teach them, this certain way to tackle for this Heads Up clinic?
It's definitely that's where it's starting, and I think if there's coaches or people that are dealing with these kids who, aren't familiar with the things that are going to be taught at Heads Up. That'll help them, basically get a kind of a baseline to move forward with it. And if you are doing the right things to begin with, and you haven't had, talking to Lou was saying New Canaan hasn't had too much of a problem with concussion. They haven't had many concussions in New Canaan, and he feels that's because they've been doing a lot of those things that Heads Up teaches for a while now. But even if you are teaching those things, this is just a positive reinforcement of it, a reminder. Everybody can, you can use something to kind of clear their head and reinforce what they've known before. So I think this clinic, can be helpful on a bunch of different levels. And the more coaches you have involved with it, the more coaches that are aware of what's going on and what Heads Up is teaching. I think in the long run it'll be a little bit it'll be better for everybody involved. And the nice thing is, in this case, the FCAC is paying for the clinic, so people can send their coaches there, and it's no cost to the schools, it's no cost to the towns, and the FCAC is basically picking up the tab for it.
Well, it shows you the commitment to making sure that the players are as safe as they can be. Again, that clinic is tomorrow, 5 o'clock in the afternoon at New Canaan High School. Dave, let's step away from that for a little bit. Let's look deeper into the football season upcoming this fall. If there's one storyline right now that most intrigues you about one of these football teams, which one is standing out?
Well, I'm curious to see how I've heard very, very good things about St. Joseph. St. Joseph this year, and I'm really curious to see how they're gonna match up with some of the teams. They've always been one of those teams that kind of is either, if they're not competing at the top for the top spots in the league, they are right on the fringe. So they're never a team you can take lightly. But it seems like for them, and it probably comes with being a smaller school and being a private school, that every 3 or 4 years they just have a team that really can go out and kick some butt for lack of a better term there. And I am getting the sense that this might be one of those years for them. And they've got New Canaan right off the bat, and I think that's going to be a great matchup, and I think that'll be a good measuring stick to see where both of those programs stand. I think the loser of that game will have obviously. I think both teams will have something to things to work on after that. Obviously, it's the first game of the year, but the winner of that gets a great win under their belt, and the loser, isn't really hurt or anything in the long run. They can, definitely bounce back from that. But it'll be interesting to see how they match up right off the bat, and where they can go from there. Well,
you're really going to see the top teams in the conference separate themselves in those first 5 weeks, because Greenwich, Trumbull, New Canaan, St. Joe's, and Darien, they've all got to play at least 2 of those opponents early on in the season. So we're going to learn a lot about St. Joe's. I agree, they're a very interesting team early on here. They're in Class S now too, so they have to be careful. 2 or 3 losses, and I don't know that they have the luxury to sneak into the playoffs for states the way they did last year. One more question for you, Dave, here before we let you go. Is it New Canaan and Darien again, or is this the year that another team finds themselves in the hunt to finish first in the conference?
That's always the question, and New Canaan and Darien have proven to be the kind of the toast of the FCAC for a number of years now. There's a few teams that could break into that group. I think Greenwich is one of them. Obviously, the longer John Marinelli is there, the more of an effect he's going to have on that program, and I think you've already seen what they can do, making the states last year, and they do get New Canaan and they do get Darien again this year. So that's an interesting. They got Trumbull right off the bat, like you were saying. These teams are going to be playing each other right away. Darien lost some people. New Canaan has lost some people. Although it's going to be a big help for New Canaan to have a guy like Drew Pine back at quarterback, incredible as a freshman. I think he'll get even better as a sophomore. And they have some size on the line, and they'll be very good too. My feeling is that there's a few teams that are on the fringe. I guess Greenwich would be leading that group, and you could see St. Joe's in there. Right now, I'd have to say, because they've done it for so long, you got to see somebody knock one of those 2 teams off, Darien or New Canaan, right away. If somebody does that, then you throw them into that group. But until somebody does it, those are the 2 teams carrying the torch for the FCAC right now.
All right, Dave, well, we appreciate you taking the time to join us, and we're looking forward to seeing you out on the sidelines during the football season. Thank you very much, Dave.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun this year. Very interesting season.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yep.
We're going to step aside. Once we come back from the break, Bill Bloxham's going to join us. We're going to get you all caught up with Fairfield American, who gets their first Little League World Series game tomorrow at 3 p.m. All that coming up next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
At Pure Barre Ridgefield, our tried and true method can shape every body and fit any schedule. Pure Barre is a total body workout using the ballet bar to perform small isometric movements which burn fat, sculpt muscles, and create long, lean physiques. Sweat away the day and get lost in the music. Pure Barre Ridgefield, located at 86 Danbury Road. Like us on Facebook at Pure Barre Ridgefield.
Now teeing off, Paul Miller from Miller Nissan in Fairfield.
Mr. Miller. What about my new Sentra?
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
He is never going to retire.
Today's Nutmeg Sports is brought to you by musician and educator John Catrone. John Catrone offers private drum lessons and playing classes for all instruments. John draws from his professional experience to communicate and strengthen important musical concepts. As a result of his dedication as a teacher, many of his students have gone on to have careers in the music business and have been accepted into colleges with highly rated music programs. All ages and levels are accepted. Visit johncatrone.com for more information or email him at jncatrone@aol.com.
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Baystar and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, scapchryslerjeep.com or scapdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now at the summer clearance event. Now through August 31st.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Kevin Coleman now joined by Bill Bloxham. We'll get you ready for tomorrow as Fairfield American has their first Little League World Series game against Holbrook, New Jersey, who's the Mid-Atlantic champion. Bill, welcome to the show. 2 days in a row having you on Nutmeg Sports.
Yeah, no, it's fun talking about these guys. Yesterday we talked a little bit more about the Trumbull team getting to their World Series, and now we have Fairfield American representing the town of Fairfield for the 3rd time this decade in the last 5 years.
Now,
7 years, sorry.
Now Fairfield 18-0 in the postseason, just unbelievable. You had New Jersey coming in 20-1, 14 straight wins. What are you expecting tomorrow?
Not a pitching duel.
No?
No, I was looking over from their sectionals and everything moving up, and when challenged, the scores were more 8-6, 6-4. Fairfield did play a 3-2 game in their districts against Westport, but that was that was what you'd call a pitcher's duel. Everything else, 8-6. Like I said, there were a couple 6-4s in the close games, but both these teams have the ability to score a lot of runs.
Now, Fairfield American, what makes them so deadly on the offensive end when they're up to bat?
1 through 9. I mean, it's been expressed in most of the media outlets all the way through the Little League broadcasts. 1 through 9 plus. They have 5 subs. They have a 14-man roster, and they utilize all these guys. The manager, Mike Randazzo, and his 2 assistants. Everybody can hurt you, and everyone can play. Everyone can play defense. It's it's why they are at Williamsport.
Now you mentioned the 5 subs. Who out of those 5, or if it's all of them, who really stands out to you the most? That's really done a nice job of coming off the bench and really contributing to the team.
Well, it's funny because it's all of them, and I kind of wrote this down. In their championship win over Maine that got them to Williamsport, the number 9 spot went 3 for 3,
right,
moving different guys in and out. And I was checking it out. The 5 subs, the guys they put in for their 1 at bat and then either stayed in or came back in, they had 4 hits. I want to call them the +5. Mm-hmm. I was interviewing, one of the guys, Sean O'Neill, after the Maine game, but they took him to the thing, and only because he had happened to be there. And I said, you guys have a nickname for yourselves? I mean, the 5 of you guys, you just keep on happening. He says, no. And I said, you should find one. So I'm going to call them 5+. Because they have their starters, and they got 5+ guys. And I was looking over the win over New Hampshire. 4 of the 5 reached base. 2 of them drove in runs. 2 of them scored runs. You know, it's not just one, it's a mix of them. And when you put them together with the 4 starting pitchers that they have, the solid infield, you know, the outfield, good team catcher, Aiden Rivera is a catcher, does a good job blocking the plate, you know, from pitches, you know, not giving up the extra bases.
And you mentioned those 4 pitchers. One of them is Michael Iannazzo, who is really the guy on the team that's not only pitching great, plays great defense, he's hitting. What is it about Michael that is just so impressive to you?
Actually, it's how much fun he's having. If you look at him, no matter what the situation was, when it was 3-0, losing to New Hampshire in their second game up in regionals, he's just smiling at the catcher. You know, he's relaxed. Nothing gets to him. I mean, you see a lot of guys kicking dirt, making faces at the umpire's call, which is all part of the emotions that go with it when the adrenaline gets going. He is one of the most relaxed players at the Little League level I've ever seen. And he is best when they can play him at shortstop, put Ethan Ryder on the mound, and just keep their lineup the way it is. He is a very good pitcher, but he is a fantastic shortstop, great arm, and he can hit to all fields. You know, he had back-to-back 2-run doubles in the win over Maine. One he went the other way down the left field line, and the other one he pulled the right field into the corner. So you know, he's an intentional walk waiting to happen.
Now, you mentioned the 3 other pitchers, one of which is Ethan Ryder. Who else? You know, 3 and 4. Who are there other pitchers that we can expect to see in Williamsport?
Well, Tyler Bauer did a good job in districts for them, getting them that. He also plays first base for them. And then you have Troy. It's funny, the manager Mike Randazzo mentioned this, that they didn't even have to go to Troy Ashkinos, who would pitch for them through districts and states and sectionals, and they didn't need him up in New England. So, you know, they have the 4 guys, but Ryder's the horse. You know, Iannazzo's the guy that, you know, he throws maybe a little harder. I wouldn't know how to measure that because he's a little taller. But Ethan Ryder bats from the lead, he leads off for them. He gets things going, and he's their best pitcher. So he's the guy they need him to go deep. As I said, it could be a high-scoring game. You know, I have no idea what it's going to be like on, tomorrow afternoon with the emotions going and things like that with little kids, young men. But if he can go deep, you know, if he can keep his pitch count down and get to 5, and get through 5 solid, they're going to be in great shape moving forward.
You mentioned Aiden Rivera behind the plate. What's he been like to this team, especially calling games? You mentioned the relationship he has with Michael Iannazzo on the mound. They're both having fun. What's he like with the other pitchers as well?
Same thing, and I think what the key there is that matter of trust, and the coaches call the pitches. And, you know, they get it in quickly, and he gets it out to the pitchers quickly. There's not Ethan likes to work fast. I mean, you know, you always have these, rain delays waiting to happen. Once again, you know, he's the human rain delay because they walk around the mound and they do these type of things. He especially likes to just get after it, get the ball back and go. And it's amazing, I would say, and I'm guessing here, but 5% of the runs, maybe even 10% of the runs that I saw scored in the games that I've covered this year in Little League have come on pass balls or wild pitches when they get a runner to the third. It's just amazing how often that happens. And if you can have a catcher that just keeps the guy stranded at second, doesn't get him go to third because he keeps the ball in front of him, and Aiden does a good job of that.
Now, what makes Coach Mike Randazzo such a great manager? I mean, he's been doing this for so long and has had a great success with Fairfield Little League. What is it about him, managerial-wise, that you're so impressed with?
The more I thought about it, I just remembered, you know, what a great athlete he was. He was a great athlete in Norwalk. He played at Seton Hall. After that, he was signed to a major league contract, played 1 year pro baseball, moved from Norwalk to Fairfield with his wife, started a family. And then as they grew older, he got into the coaching side of it. And I just think all of those factors, I think he can, you know, keep them solid, keep them going, you know, keep them on task, but also understand the fun part of it. And I think that's the mixture that he and his coaching staff do a great job of.
Now, you've been down to Williamsport. For folks like me and for other viewers at home, What's it like down there? Because I think a lot of people are curious to know what it really is like for the Little League World Series down in Williamsport.
It's a rock and roll show for these little guys. It's amazing because you don't have access. Media does not have access to them after they you only have a certain amount of time you can speak with them. But they're roaming the grounds. They're getting to know each other. They're with the other teams walking. For any 12 or 13-year-old boy being trailed by 11, 12, and 13-year-old girls is not a bad thing. They're up on that hill where you always see the guys sliding down and doing that. They're pretty important people until they get between the lines, and then their coaches rein them in again. But the people there are so great. It is just it's an athletic Disney World, where everyone is there to have fun. Prices are, doesn't charge you to get in. Prices are cheap. Games are going on all the time, but yet they have so much free time, which they found out in Bristol in their dormitories where they made best friends with the main team. And then they take they're on buses with different teams. That's the stuff the kids are going to remember, is what happened in the dorms, what happened in the swimming pools, and that type of stuff for the families and their little brothers and their little sisters and friends that go to these things. It's just going to be, trading pins for their hats that they get from the different places, meeting people from Japan, meeting people from the different countries that come in. It's a fabulous experience. I would tell anyone who has a chance, go to Hershey Park for a night and then just go in for a game. You don't have to ever know who's playing. You will have a wonderful time.
No, it truly is amazing. Bill, thank you so much. And can we get a score prediction for tomorrow?
6-4 Fairfield.
Okay, you heard it here. Bill Blocksman, everyone. Bill, thank you very much. We're going to step aside. When we come back, Frank Granito is going to come back and join us. We'll put a wrap on Nutmeg Sports here today on the HAN Network.
Things are heating up this summer. See some of the world's best tennis players at the Connecticut Open presented by United Technologies. Enjoy food trucks, entertainment, and special events throughout the week, August 18th through the 26th. Get tickets at ConnecticutOpen.org. At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside.
Registration is now open for our fitness training programs for high school athletes. The InSports Performance Center is offering blast speed classes, athletic functional movement assessments, and both men's and women's elite speed and strength training. Our premier programs help bring athletes to the next level. Call 203-268-1214 for more information. Like and follow us on Facebook.
School's out, the weather is hot, and the fish are biting. Whether you're heading to the beach or out on a boat, stop in at the dock shop before you go to fill your beach bag or tackle box with everything you'll need for fun in the sun. A new beach cover-up, some sunscreen, or just some bait, the dock shop has you covered from either location. 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. And yes, you heard that right. Bait is now available in Darien and Westport. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. DockShop.com.
Celebrate summer with fresh made-to-order picnic boxes from Walter Stewart's Market. We have delicious summery selections from buttermilk fried chicken to grilled lemon chicken kebab, grilled shrimp Caesar salad wraps, or lobster salad rolls. Our easy-to-carry picnic boxes come with your choice of a meal, as well as a dessert, beverage, and utensils. Order online for simple pickup options. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and online at stewartsmarket.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now at the Summer Clearance Event. Now through August 31st.
I'm Tracy Masella, a licensed clinical social worker at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan. Join me each month as we talk with experts on the front lines of the treatment of mental health and addiction. Straight Talk with Tracy, a Silver Hill Hospital production, airs at 12 p.m. on the second Thursday of each month here on the HAN Network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Kevin Coleman, Frank Granito. Frank, glad to see that you're back on the mend, finally feeling better.
Yep, a couple of procedures done. We're all set, ready to go. Good to go for the tour, which starts next week. We'll be at all three of the FCX Stanford schools, starting with Stanford High on Monday morning. We look forward to seeing all 17 schools and all of their fall sport captains. I've got a question for you, Kevin. I know I've let you off the hook for a little bit now these past 2 weeks, but you look at 2 years ago, back in 2015, we were both getting our startup around here, coming back north. Darien dominated the fall season, the winter season, the spring season. Last year now, a lot more diversity in the champions. You had a different school winning all of the major sports in the fall season. Do you think it's more likely we see multiple champions again this year, or is there a school you think might jump out and take over this fall?
I think it's going to be a diverse crowd again. I think we expect to see Darien or New Canaan really get that jump spot in football. There may be a couple surprises, but you look across the board for boys soccer, I think there's going to be a new crown champion this year. I don't think Trumbull or Greenwich is going to be back. They lose a lot. I think you look at a Richfield or a Wilton team, you could see one of those two teams because they bring back a lot of youth. You look at girls soccer, I think St. Joe's is going to be a big contender this year. I think they could actually get over the hump and beat Richfield in the title game. I think we're going to see a diverse crowd again for champions in the FCIAC.
I agree, and I think that Ridgefield loses enough in girls soccer that they're going to be hurting more than St. Joe's will. Field hockey, you had Wilton beating Staples last year. Unlikely that Darien doesn't reach a championship game 2 years in a row. That's just the way Mo Minicus is and how good that program has become. Volleyball, I think it's a school that most likely won't dominate some of the other sports that wins. I wouldn't be shocked to see Stanford win again, especially bringing back Andrea O'Connor. So you're right, there's a lot of diversity. Honestly, though, one program that I think could surprise and maybe run the table on a couple of these would be Greenwich. I think they've got an outside shot in football. Maybe they find a way to go at it again in soccer. I think they have a favorable schedule with some opponents that really match up well coming to them at home. Volleyball, they were right there till the finish last year. Field hockey, they're always competitive. Maybe if it's another down year and it's a middle of the pack kind of thing, they can sneak in there as well. So I like Greenwich, and obviously the depth of a school like that provides them a lot of opportunity to be sitting atop the conference for multiple sports.
I think you're right. I think they certainly can go back in boys soccer. You're absolutely not wrong about that. And volleyball, you're right, they're almost there. I do like them in football. I really do like Gavin Muir. I think this is a quarterback who, if he can't get it done this year, then next year for his senior year, I think they're going to be a big contender. So I think you're absolutely right. I think this is a program that can do it in multiple sports.
I couldn't agree more. So let's put a wrap on this, though. There will be an announcement on the New Canaan hockey coach. That's coming on Friday, I've heard, according to my sources. So, well, we are back again tomorrow. We're going to get you ready for our fall tour, which starts on Monday. We're going to preview the whole fall season, tell you who we're looking forward to speaking with most. That's on Nutmeg Sports only on the HAM Network.